We will be coming out of break in just a moment. Right now, we are gathering people who have been in the back room. Recording has started here. I told them we were coming out of break. We'd be right back.
All right, we're coming out of break. Is this working? Okay, we're coming out of break. This wasn't a recess, it was a break. So Representative Edwards is up on his part of the discussion on the Health and Human Services budget.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I think we just followed the 1940s movie paradigm of the cliffhanger. When we last left our intrepid hero, Senator Daniels, I was curious about these mobile crisis response teams. I'm looking at line 63, and between line 63 and 64 on the system of care, over the biennium, the Senate added approximately 5.3 million, 5.4 million. And a mobile crisis response team is mentioned as part of the justification in the footnote. I'm just curious if the Senate received good information about the status of the state's efforts to stand up these mobile response teams, because it seems like whenever there's a need for money, somebody uses the magic words mobile response team and money is provided. So I was just curious what you think.
Senator.
Thank you. I believe that the department has been seeking these for a while, and sometimes they've been funded and sometimes they haven't. We looked at it as part of our plan for starting to address what the root cause of things are. We understand that areas like mental health are growing at such a rate, and we're pouring more and more money into it. And we've told the department it's not sustainable. We need to go back. We need to find ways that we can treat people before they get into the system, before they get into the hospitals. Mobile crisis units were part of that plan. So that's why we put it in there. The expectation is this will be part of what we're monitoring. And it wouldn't be logical for us not to monitor, if we're going to put that much money into trying to prevent a system from continuing to grow. We want to make sure that it's working. If it's not working, then we will change to something else in the future.
Okay, thank you, Senator. I think we agree on the identifying the problem and hoping that this is as part of the solution. So, so I would like to move on to line 108. 108 is surrounded by a bunch of lines where there's been some accounting changes without real policy changes. And on 108, we see $1.6 million a year being taken out of the state's budget. This is money that was going directly to Planned Parenthood of Northern New England, and I think maybe some other abortion providers. This is coming out of the budget. That $3.2 million we won't see anymore, but that's still money, as I understand it, that is still going to Planned Parenthood. Is that your understanding, sir?
If I recall correctly, and that this money was removed because of the expectation that federal funds would basically supplant them.
So it is going to be federal money going there. Yes, sir. Yeah.
I'll defer to LBA.
Sure. Yep, sure. So this 1.6 million was budgeted in error. These are federal funds that aren't available at the moment because of changes to Title X funding a couple of years ago, but there's an expectation that they will become available shortly. But even if they are made available, they wouldn't go through the state. They would go directly to family planning centers. And so there's no need to budget them, and they shouldn't have been budgeted originally. So the department requested that they come out. So that's what you see here.
All right. Thank you for that. While we're on that line item, the House and the Senate have agreed that in FY22, we'll put $812,000 into the family planning program and general funds. That's not reflected in any paper that we have. And that was right what the governor had recommended. In addition to that, what the House did is we put another supplemental $50,000 on that general funds line in order to incentivize additional competition for these family planning contracts. And as I understand the Senate's proposal in the section 34 that we had done, where we were intentionally trying to incentivize new vendors, that as I understand the Senate version, it doesn't have that.
And you're talking now HB2, not HB1.
Well, in their HB2, but it affects HB1.
Correct.
So in anticipation of that conversation, what I'd like to do is go ahead and from HB1, take the 50,000 supplemental money and just pull it out of HB1, because that would be redundant money or unnecessary money if we were to accede to the Senate's version of HB2. So I would, if there's any discussion on this, we can discuss it, but I would like to move that in HB1, we remove the $50,000 supplement that was added to the state's family program money in order to clean up HB1 and get it ready for an HB2 discussion next week.
What accounting union is that? Where would we find that in the budget?
We're referring to row 108, so you can reference it there. There's a family program.
That's federal
item.
money?
The line we're talking about is federal money, but the program is there. Mr. Ripple can tell you the program number.
Sure. So the accounting unit is 5530, and in your compare report, it's online on pages 1224 and 1225. So what Representative Edwards is referring to is $50,000 that the House added, that the Senate kept, along with the corresponding footnote saying that $50,000 shall be used for the purpose of providing incentive funds to first-time contract awardees. So I think what you're suggesting, Representative Edwards, is that both the $50,000 and the footnote would come out of House Bill 1.
Yes, Mr. Ripple, that's exactly what I'm trying to, the motion I'm attempting to move here.
Okay. Representative Umberger.
Okay. If I'm understanding correctly, that doesn't show up here because it's the same for both the House and the Senate.
Yes.
That's correct.
Okay. And so what's being asked is that we find whatever line item that is and reduce it by the 50,000.
Along with the footnote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
5530. So that's the motion that we.
But it's not 5530, it's something else.
Well,
it's account 5530, which is on pages 1224 and 1225 in your compare report.
Okay, if you want to look it up. Representative Ober.
Perhaps Mr. Ripple can respond to this. Kevin, I'm looking at page 1225. And I see that both the House and the Senate have a note there. Neither one of them seems to refer to the use of any general funds. So are we talking entirely federal funds, and have we received those federal funds?
This 50,000 is a general fund appropriation that the House added. And so if you go to the previous page that shows you the class lines for 5530, you'll see on line 103 that $50,000 that the Senate left in, that was the 50,000 that the House added.
Thank you, Mr. Ripple.
So when we take this out, the agreement is to put it into HB2?
If we add it back, it'll be in HB2, and that's for Monday's discussion. or
right.
Tuesdays.
Does everybody understand the motion to remove from HB1?
Do we actually have an amendment?
You don't have a formal amendment, but I think you could direct us to make that change, and we could do that.
Okay,
Thoughts from the Senate?
Senate?
So just for our understanding, thank you, Mr. Chair. Your intention is to still provide this funding?
I would like to have the Senate agree with my position on Monday or Tuesday relative to enforcing the financial and physical separation of family planning from the reproductive health facilities. But on the thought that the Senate may not support that, we won't need this 50,000 in that scenario, because this 50,000 is entirely intended to incentivize new vendors to replace the reproductive health facilities that already have the contracts. So this 50,000 is incentive money for new vendors. And if we were to agree with the Senate next week, this 50,000 would not be needed. And so therefore, I'm just trying to clean up the books while we're on HB1 and get it out.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the LBA. Do we need to make that change in HB1, or could there be an HB2 amendment that, depending on what the Committee of Conference on HB2 decides, directs the spending?
Yeah, it's up to the committee. You can address it here and reduce that class line, or you could reduce it in an amendment to House Bill 2, reducing this class line by $50,000. So it's up to the committee. Both would be appropriate.
And I'm addressing it now because I'm at the table now. Monday, I'm an alternate, so I'm not sure where I'll be on Monday.
Well, if you left it here the way it is, then the money would be there to incentivize. You don't know what'll happen on Monday, and
Okay.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
So if I'm reading the chairman right, I should withdraw this motion.
Yes,
Mr. Chairman, I withdraw this motion.
thank you.
Okay, and so with that, I think I am prepared to say that on the Senate versus House form that we've been using, I move that we accede to the Senate's position from lines 49 all the way through the end of it on 146.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second for the House members to exceed on those aforementioned line numbers 48 through 146. House, any further discussion? Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. Reluctantly, or not that reluctantly, I'm not going to be able to support this motion, not only because I think the additional $1.2 million is needed for the Title X program. They're all over the state. Planned Parenthood is one of them, but so is COAS Health Center. So is Amoskeag Health, and there are a number of them. But I'm also concerned about the $3 million decrease in the state loan repayment program. I know the Senate added money from the House position, but we have a really critical shortage of healthcare workforce, and I'm concerned about that too. So
Senator, what line do you refer to?
I'm looking at line 51, and I have to say that Senator Hennessy worked this unbelievably, but we were not able to get back the entire level funding of the current biennium, while the problem continues to be exacerbated. Thank you.
Thank you. Further discussion. Senator Hennessy.
Thank you. Outside of the budget process, I am hopeful that the monies that are coming into state from the federal monies coming into the state will address the needs of a lot of our healthcare providers that we have seen drastically increased because of the COVID pandemic. And I'm hopeful that those funds will be used for the student loan repayment program, or SLRP, which we love to refer to it as, and that we will see a significant increase in funding for our healthcare professionals and their student loan repayment.
Thank you.
And follow up. And as far as the federal funds go, I am upset that the federal government has not decided to provide the funding to our family planning services that they should have increased by now, and are very able to increase. And by supplanting these funds with general funds, it's calling on states to do something that I don't think we should have to do. So I would recommend reaching out to your federal delegation to tell them to do their job on this and get these fundings to our needed services, especially the ones that we can agree on definitely need this funding.
Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. I believe that the current federal administration is working to get that money out directly to the states, but it will take probably until next winter or spring before the providers who have been ineligible to participate in Title X are able to re-qualify again. So I think in the meantime, we're reducing access to important health care for 15,000 Granite Staters.
Further discussion? Seeing none, the motion is for the House to accede to the Senate position on the HHS lines. Stated correctly? With seeing no further discussion, House members all in favor of the motion? Hands down.
Senate members in favor of the motion? It's 2-1.
Motion passes. The next thing we have is, I guess, education. And that will go to Representative Umberger.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I would move to accede to the Senate position.
Second.
Okay. House moves to accede to the Senate position on the Department of Education changes. Further discussion?
I certainly have no problem with these few changes that they made.
Thank you. All right.
I guess I should say in HB1.
Senator Rosenwald.
Thank you. I'm concerned about the level of K through 12 education going out to our cities and towns, so I will not be supporting this.
Further discussion? Seeing none. Representative Umberger.
Thank you. That's in the regular budget and not in here. Is that correct? You said you were concerned about the amount of money that was going out to our cities and towns for adequate education, but it's not anything to do with what's here. Okay. Thank you.
All right. There's no further discussion. House members in favor of the acceding, raise your hand.
Senate members in favor of the motion? 2-1.
Motion passes. We next have New Hampshire Lottery.
I move that we accept the accede to the Senate position on the lottery division.
Okay.
Second.
Motion and a second on the lottery. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. House members in favor will raise their hands. Senate members.
Senate members in favor, raise your hand.
Okay. Police standards and training and community colleges, no change.
And the university system.
And the university system is no change. So we'll move on to the footnotes.
Did the first motion that we made take care of these no changes? Okay, because I was concerned.
Yes, that was the first motion. If there's no
Okay.
changes, it's considered done. And I believe LBA has made that. Okay, so when we see the index, we see the changes that are made. And the first one is House Finance Section 2, page 1. Looks like it's total appropriations amended by the Senate for footnote number 2. As you can see, the language for the New Hampshire College and University System accounts was changed to for all university system accounts and community college system accounts. Not much of a change.
I'll make the motion to accede.
Motion to accede to the change in footnote 2.
Second.
And a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none. House members in favor, raise your hands.
Senate members in favor, raise your hand.
Motion passes. Okay, the next change is on page 3. Dealing with positions abolished. There's one change down toward the bottom of the page on Department of Energy. The House removed 9U141. The Senate restored it. And we also have the note, the following positions are hereby abolished effective at the close of business on December 31st, 2021. And then it goes after that to all the liquor commission positions, which were the badged positions, which were eliminated in the House, but not eliminated in the Senate. And also that Department of Energy position. That was in Division 1.
Department of Energy, as they looked at the positions, I'm pretty sure they were still, and I know the governor's budget director had told us that they were still working out the positions. Obviously a change when they got to the Senate, which I talked to the governor's budget director about before he left for his wedding, and he thought it was an improvement. We have approved and acceded to the liquor, so I would move to accede to the Senate in this section.
Second.
Motion and a second to accede to the Senate. Any further discussion? Seeing none. House members in favor, raise your hand.
Senate members in favor, raise your hand.
And the motion passes. So moving on that same page, down to footnote number 9, Department of Information Technology.
Again, Mr. Chairman, this gets back to the fact that we knew the Senate was going to have more money. We knew DOIT had had significant cuts in the governor's budget. We were hoping that they would be able to restore them, and they worked on that. So we will accede to the Senate position.
Second.
Motion and a second to accede to the Senate position.
And Mr. Chairman, I'm
Further
doing that
discussion.
for footnote 9 and footnote 10 as they are the same.
Very
They're
good.
the same agency.
Okay, that motion applies to footnote 9 and 10. Does everybody understand that? All right. Further discussion, seeing none. House members in favor of acceding, raise your hand.
Senate members in favor.
That motion is adopted. Moving on to this page 5.
So if I had turned the page, I would have included footnote 11 in that. And now I've turned the page, I would move footnote 11 for the same reason. This is again, DOIT. Thank you.
Okay.
Second.
Now we're moving on to a new footnote 11.
Right, and I just moved it.
Yep, and it's been motioned and I believe I got a second. Further discussion, seeing none. House members in favor of acceding, raise your hand.
Senate members in favor.
The motion is adopted. Okay. Now we're moving on. Because of that, it renumbers some sections. All right, footnote 12.
We were the same, basically.
Yeah.
No, slightly different.
Well, we changed the way we reduced the budget. We did the back of the budget cut, and the Senate did position cuts.
Yeah.
It amounted to about the same amount of,
Well,
no.
actually, no, it's spread over about maybe a dozen different things that we basically put names to the back of the budget cuts. So we identified where that was come out, and it came out to just under $60 million.
Okay. Rather than having the back of the budget cut. So what does that eliminate a footnote?
The footnote has been eliminated. So on page 6, the Senate has deleted section 12, which is the back of the budget reduction. So if the House is in agreement, they would accede to the Senate.
And is footnote 13?
That's new.
That's new. All right. So we'll.
On section 12, I would move to accede to the Senate.
Second.
Okay, footnote 12, move to accede to the Senate. Any further discussion? Seeing none. House members in favor, raise your hands.
Senate members in favor, raise your hand.
Motion is adopted. All right, 13 has no, footnote 13 is a new one from the Senate. Let's see what that says. $5% rate increase to skilled nursing facilities. Sounds good. We can afford it.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. This was the Guida-Con amendment that we had on the Senate floor the other day. And inadvertently, there was a group of facilities that were inadvertently excluded from the 5% rate increase that we did in the budget on the Senate side. So this includes those facilities that were
So this
left
adds
out.
them in.
Adds them in.
Sounds good.
And again, that was the Guida-Con amendment.
Give credit where credit's due. Representative Umberger.
Yes, thank you. This is a continuing budget item. In other words, it's 5% and it will go on forever. Okay, thank you.
It doesn't mean they'll get 5% every time. They get 5% from this amendment. Okay. Motion from the House to exceed.
So moved.
Motion and a second to exceed for footnote 13. House members in favor, raise your hands.
Senate members in support.
Okay, moving on to the revenue estimates. We can't argue with these because you got latest figures and they look a lot better than what we had. What's that?
You want to go over them?
How do we wish to go line by line, or we want to look at the bottom line?
I'd recommend we just look at the two total lines, or at least the one total general fund line.
Okay, you want to move that we exceed to these revenue estimates?
I move that we accede to the Senate estimates for total general funds and the details above.
Second.
Okay, further discussion? Seeing none? House members in favor, raise your hands.
Senate members in favor, raise your hand.
Okay. Mr. Kane. Yes. We completed the actions required on committee of conference for HB1.
Sure. So the motion, right, that Senator Edwards just made was for the general fund totals. If you want to approve the education on page 7, highway and fish and game, that would give us clarity for the surplus statement purposes.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second for the additional, for the funds besides just general funds, for education fund, fish and game, and highway funds are included. Further discussion? Seeing none. House members in favor to exceed? Raise your hand.
Senate members in favor of the motion.
Okay,
Mr. Chairman.
Representative Ober.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Senator Bradley and I are working on a couple of things that may have to be done with the Department of Energy, may not have to be done. If they are, one might affect HB1, as I let Mr. Kane know earlier, and one would affect HB2. I just want to keep you aware. It'll be next week before we work those out.
We should perhaps announce now who the conferees will be on HB2 for both sides and the alternates. You have that handy?
I don't have it with me. I know I am chairing, this is Representative Ober, I am chairing the Committee of Conference on HB2, I believe. Representative Weiler, you are on it. Representative Umberger, you are on it. Representative Turcott, who is an alternate on HB1, is on it. And Representative and our speaker, Representative Packard. The alternates are Representative Jess Edwards, Representative Emmerich, Representative Leishman, Representative Wallner, I believe, Representative Erf, and
I think that's it.
Representative Petrie, are you on that? Or
No, he's not.
no? Okay.
Representative Major.
Representative Major, that's right. I was forgetting one. Thank you, Mr. Kane.
Sure. And for the Senate, who they are seated, Senator Morse, Senator Bradley, and Senator Rosenwald on House Bill 2.
First meeting will be
Monday morning at 11 o'clock.
in this room.
And the building will be open to the public, as I understand. Is that correct, Mr. Speaker? And he's shaking his head, yes. Hallelujah.
Okay, have we completed our action?
You have, and just for the public, what happens now is that our office will finalize House Bill 1, Section 1. We'll finalize the sections in the back of House Bill 1 based on the motions of the committee. And then there will be a sheet. The Committee of Conference report will be prepared and provided by OLS.
We will all need to
You
sign
will
it.
all need to sign that prior to 4 p.m. on, is it the 17th? Oh, is it 3 p.m. on the 17th? 3 p.m. on the 17th. So
All right.
we'll have
Mr.
it ready prior to that. Sure.
Mr. Kane, have we gotten things from the print shop for HB2 yet? Do we know?
We did. There was a little wrinkle, but we're just going to have to go with it. We'll bring those over and provide those to the members on the House Bill 2 Committee Conference.
Okay, so if you're on the Committee Conference of House Bill 2, please hang around and get your materials. It's a mere 304 pages or something like that. So a little light reading for the weekend.
So should we go to your office or are you going to bring them here?
We do have the copies here for the members of the House Bill
okay,
2 CC.
great. Thank you.
Okay.
Excellent. Yeah, so I'm not going to be able to walk home.
We do have it online. We do on our website, the Committee of Conference, a House Bill 2 side by side for the members of the public if you're looking for that.
I should have brought my little red wagon.
All right. I want to thank the Legislative Budget Assistant and the tech people for broadcasting this so that the public could be involved. I want to thank the Senate and the House members for all their work on the budget. It did become a little simpler when there was a little more money, didn't it?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. And on behalf of the Senate, I'd like to extend my thanks to the House Finance Committee for the work that they have done. What you gave us was a budget that had a lot of thought, a lot of work put into it, and it certainly made it easier for us to complement the work that you had done. So we were able to build upon that. We obviously had more accurate revenue numbers, so we were able to take the ideas that you were not able to get in and fulfill what I believe fulfills the needs of the state and our local community. So thank you to all for your work.
Yep, this is the most important bill to come before the bodies. This is our requirement by Constitution that the legislature, that the House originate the budget, that the Senate concur. Now it goes on to the governor for a signature. So, and we've also got to go to the House and the Senate bodies and get them to approve our actions. And I hope they will do so because I think there's been a lot of thought go into these things. Not as obvious in the time we've spent here, but in the hours and hours that we all spent before that, a lot of thought and action and a lot of discussions with the department. So I hope that is all appreciated by our other members. And I'm sorry that they're not here, but if they wanted to, they could have watched this. So thank you all very much for your help. We are adjourned. Okay. Easy part. You get the tough one. What's that? Yep. All right, appreciate it, Gary. Glad it worked.